Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. Today I'm going to teach you how to make an egg-laying nest box for your bearded dragon, for any other lizard. Let's get into this, shall we? So even if you have a lizard that is not with a male, it hasn't mated, it can still lay eggs, and that's why you want to know how to make an egg-laying box. However, if you have mated a pair of lizards, this is going to work exactly the same because there's no difference between infertile to fertile eggs with a egg-laying box right here. And the difference between most of the lizards that you have for egg-laying boxes is going to be the size of the box itself. So if you have like a leopard gecko, not even a leopard gecko, maybe this is too big for leopard gecko, but if you have a smaller lizard, but a medium-sized one at that, this one will probably do you. I would honestly say that a leopard gecko would be okay with one this size. It would lay its eggs in something like this. Maybe a little bit bigger, but that's the difference. And then this right here is for a bearded dragon. It's much larger. It's a 12-gallon tub. This would be for a bearded dragon. So that's what I mean by differences in lizards is going to make a difference in the size box that you need. The biggest issue I see with people making an egg-laying box is they don't make it wet enough, especially for arid lizards. People think that an arid lizard, it just needs constant, no humidity at all. That is false. With egg-laying boxes, when I breed my bearded dragons, I make it very moist. People get really scared like for bearded dragons because they think they need super low humidity, but for an egg-laying box, your bearded dragon wants very moist, humid substrate to lay the eggs in, and so you don't have to worry. This is what they want. People will provide like sand or something like that, and the bearded dragon will just constantly dig and not ever lay the eggs, and that is a problem. If you have an adequate egg laying box, there will be no problem at all. They'll go in there, they'll scope it out, they'll hang around there, they'll dig in it very often, and then they will lay their eggs. So right here I have a 12-gallon. I just recently used it for my ornate Eurymastix. She laid some eggs in here, and all you have to do with these, you can keep the top. You don't have to drill a hole in the top. I usually don't do that because all of the humidity escapes, and you really have to depend on them getting on top of it, finding the hole and going in there. What I usually do is I drill a hole on the sides, and that keeps the humidity in here, keeps the moisture in here, and provides more of a closed top experience where they feel like they have, they can run out the side if they need to. And you're gonna do the same thing for this right here. Just drill a hole that's good size for your lizard. You want it almost to be perfectly snug around your lizard when they go in. They don't want something super open. Now, I built this one for my Eurymastix, and it was kind of open, but the only thing I had to drill a hole was a giant 3.5-inch drill bit. But honestly, to make a hole in this, you could use anything. You could heat up a knife, cut a hole right here. You could get a soldering iron, cut a hole right here. Anything to put a hole in the side of this. But you don't want to damage it crazy because you're going to have to put lots of substrate in this. Now, what type of substrate do we put in here for the egg-laying substrate? And the substrate that works for most lizards, believe it or not, is play sand. I use play sand for almost all of my lizards. Now, sometimes if they don't like it, they'll dig in it and they'll just won't go lay in there. And if they don't lay in there and they're just kind of looking around for another place, you'll know because they won't be going in here anymore. They'll be looking elsewhere. They'll start digging elsewhere. If they do that, you got to change it up a bit. That means they really didn't like what you offered them, and you need to offer something else. And sometimes that could also mean it's just not moist enough or something like that. Maybe it's too wet. But anyways, if you do play sand and they reject it, what you could do is you could get some repti soil and mix it with the play sand. Or you could get some peat moss and mix it with the play sand. I do like a 70-30 ratio where 70% of this would be peat moss and then I'll do 30% of it play sand. It makes a very nice soil mix, and my bearded dragons do like to lay in that mix. My Eurymastix don't like to lay in that mix. They like just regular straight play sand. And this is how wet it's gotta be. For the sand in this, it's gotta be wet enough to pretty much make like a sand castle. If you were to get the sand and you start molding it, it would stay together. It would make a burrow. And that's how wet this needs to be for your lizards to lay in it. And again, people freak out about the humidity. You don't have to worry. This is what your lizard needs to lay the eggs. If it spikes the humidity in the tank, your lizard's not gonna get sick. Nothing's gonna go wrong with it. I've done this many a times. Honestly, I don't even do egg-laying bins anymore. I build my own enclosures, and I've built them to hold up to 10 inches of substrate, and I just make the inside of the tank a lay bin. That way I don't have to worry about going in there, getting this heavy thing out of it. I could just start digging in the tank and get the eggs out myself. But this is the way to do it, old-fashioned way, and I still did it with my Eurymastix to show you how easy it is. This is very easy. Your lizard will do naturally what they do. You just have to provide them with an adequate egg-laying bin like this right here. And as you can tell, this is actually already an egg-laying bin. This is from my Eurymastix. I pulled her eggs out this morning. She went in here, she laid me a good amount of eggs. I can't wait to make that video. But like I said, it depends on the size of the lizard. Now, it is different. Some lizards, like chameleons, are a little different. You don't have to drill a hole here at all. If you have a Chameleon, the difference is they're not ground dwellers, burrowers, and stuff like that. You will just have to take the entire lid off and you don't have to cut a hole at all. Just take the lid off, have the substrate here, and you might have to have it pretty deep for veiled chameleons because they do like it pretty deep. I'm talking like 8 inches plus. And then just put a stick in here so that way they can get down to the ground. They'll just go on here and start digging to lay their eggs. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you a quick example. I have a 50-pound bag of play sand from Home Depot. We have it right here. It's unopened at all. I'm gonna open it up, pour it in here, and show you how I wet it and make it moist. I think this might be a little bit moist already. Oh no, it's gonna ruin it. Sometimes this happens. Sometimes during the rainy season, sometimes bags get a little wet. Oh, it's kind of dry. No? Yeah, it's 50-50. So if this was not wet, I would add a gallon of water. But since this is wet, I'm going to go ahead and add like this. And then just start mixing it up. And the water will start binding with most of the sand. So it'll take about 1 gallon to 2 gallons. But once you have your sand looking like this, that's what you want. You want to look very moist. It'll stick to you. It'll stick to itself. It's a very sticky thing. That's what you want your sand to look like. And after that, you can just start putting the sand in the lay box. A 50-pound bag filled up my 12-gallon lay box that you see right here. It didn't fill it up to the top, but it filled it up enough to where my lizard did lay eggs in the lay box. But as you can see, I try to pile up the sand so that way it kind of almost meets the edge of the lip of the hole I made. But that's it. That easy. After that, I just go ahead and put the lay box in. I usually put it on the cool side. I always put it in the middle or on the cool side. I never put it underneath the heat lamp. I always put it on the cool side, and you don't ever want it underneath the heat lamp. And you don't want to put a heating pad on this because a lot of times some people might put a heating pad underneath thinking that's how you can incubate them. And when they start digging down, they usually will not lay once they feel heat from underground like that. So for me, I always just put it in the middle of the tank or at the end of the cool side, just like this right here. But it is important to remember when you do this, provide an opportunity for them to climb into the bin. As you can see right here, I did that with the bricks and the cork bark for my Uromastics. So that's all there really is to an egg laying box. It's pretty simple. Moist substrate, not soaking wet, but when you grab it, you can feel the moisture in the substrate, and just a big box like this right here. Now, I hope this helped. If it did, like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.